Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now my goal at the end of this video is to walk you through the process of how to hire a virtual assistant. Now if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai Lacaba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run my own virtual assistant agency 2XU here in the Philippines, and I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, so make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, in the last 3 years that I've had my virtual assistant agency 2XU, and also the last 7 other years that I've been hiring for virtual companies, I've learned a lot of different things that you can do to be able to find out how you can hire the best person for your business. And I'm going to divide this up to 3 different sections. The first one is going to be the pre-hiring stage. Now, when it comes to your pre-hiring stage, there's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind or to be able to do to be able to prepare yourself for a virtual assistant. Same thing goes with the hiring stage of making sure, okay, how do you filter, how do you find the right person, and of course the post-hiring stage, where all the work actually really starts is once you have your person. Now, if you have no idea what a virtual assistant is, a virtual assistant is essentially someone who works with you virtually, remotely. They're probably working from the Philippines or from other countries, and you are just working from home. Both of you are working from home, and you're both working together on the different goals, the different tasks that need to be done in your company, and you can think of them as your executive assistant. Imagine that you were in an office and you had a secretary right there, except they're going to be a million miles from you. Now, when it comes to the pre-hire stage, the first thing that you want to make sure is that you have tasks clarity. Now, this is the first process that I run through all of our potential clients, is knowing what are the tasks that only you can do as a client and what are the tasks that are perfect to delegate to an assistant. There's also a caveat to that. There's also tasks that, one, you should probably automate, and lastly, you should probably delete. So it's a whole grid that I walk our clients through on what those tasks would look like in their business. So things that only you can do are usually what are called vital tasks. Vital tasks are things that move the needle in your business, whether that's getting a new client, whether that is going to be creating a new product or process in your business. Whatever it is that moves it forward are vital tasks. Functional tasks, you think of them as more operations tasks, as things that will be needed to get done to run the business. So this could be client delivery. These are mostly tasks that are more repetitive, that are more easy to follow as a process, that usually mean that they can be delegated to an assistant. So you have to find what are the vital tasks in your business that are least functional, meaning that they're not repeatable, that these are things that only you can do. This is a specialty that you bring into your business. And what are things you can delegate to an assistant that could be also a little bit high on the vital and also high on the functional? What are those tasks that an assistant can easily step into just because it doesn't have to be involving something that's custom every time? They know the process. They know the step-by-step process of what to do next. And when it comes to tasks that can be automated, these are usually the high functional tasks, but the least vital tasks. So these are tasks like email newsletters. These are tasks like social media management. These are things that, yes, an assistant can do them, but you can also automate or make it a template where it's easy to follow through. You don't really have to think about it. It's something that's just a process in your business. And of course, any tasks that are low and vital and low and functional, you either will outsource that to someone else or even just delete it off of the to-do list. So having that clarity right off the bat is going to help you make sure that you don't lose money, because a mistake that I've seen a lot of people make when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant is that they delegate the tasks that are really vital in their business, like doing sales calls or doing client delivery. These are things that they can't really do because they're not you. So you have to keep that in mind as you go through this process. Next thing you have to do pre-hire is to create tutorials. So as you now have the clarity of what are the tasks to delegate to an assistant, start just creating videos of yourself. There's tools like Loom or Vidyard, or you can even record yourself on Zoom where you're just walking through, okay, this is how I'm doing this task. That's why it's going to be so much easier for you to give that task to an assistant. Next is look at the different tools that you're using in the business. I've always said that there are 4 main tools that an assistant would need to know for their client's business. And it's basically a productivity tool or a project management tool. So where are you tracking those tasks? 2 is a time tracking tool. So how are you seeing the hours that they're working, what they're working on? So tools like Hubstaff or Time Toggle. And there's also going to be a data collection tool. So tools like Google Drive or Dropbox are basically a way for you to share files seamlessly. and a communication tool. What's the main mode of communication that you guys are going to be using back and forth? Establishing that early is going to be really important. Next is you're then going to go ahead and create a job ad that filters. Now, when it comes to the job ad, it's not really a super complicated thing. You can literally just have list of responsibilities, list of tasks, and then how to contact you, and then the goal for this position if you want to add that in, and then a little bit of an about you in your business. It can be so simple as that. The main thing is that you need to add is that they need to be self-filtering. What I mean by that is adding an Easter egg to your job ad, so then people who don't read the job ad get automatically kicked out. So as an example, it could be that in one of the places in your job ad, you said, hey, make sure that in the subject line you include this word. Or in your application letter, you include this word. Or hey, please customize your resume to say my company's name so I can easily find you. So things like that where people have to do some extra work and not just send in their application straight. There's going to filter a lot of people who are just doing a little bit of mass application or are just pushing without really reading if they're going to be a fit for their role. Next is you want to make sure that you have a skills test depending on the kind of virtual assistant that you need. And I have a whole lot of videos here on my channel about different types of assistants. You want to make sure that you're able to filter their skills to see if they're actually good at it beyond just their portfolio. So yes, you can just look at the portfolio, what they've done before as a basis, but having an extra step of, hey, if you need someone with graphic skills, hey, can you create this one Facebook post for me? Just to see if they could be a match for your brand as well. Because someone who could have been amazing at one industry doesn't necessarily mean that they'll do really well in your industry. So you want to see if they're going to be a match in that way. It could be a rating test. It could be an email responding test. It could be an email responding test where they write up how they would respond to an email. Things like that where, again, you filter for yourself if that person can actually do what you need them to do. The next stage is going to be the hiring stage. So the first thing you're probably wondering is, where can I hire an assistant? And there's a lot of different places. I only really focus on main three. First one, referrals. You can never really go wrong when it comes to referrals. There's probably other people who have had virtual assistants, and either that virtual assistant is not just part-time or they open their own agency like I did. It's a quick way to filter people out already because you have a referral. You have this person saying, hey, I've worked with this person or I've heard of this person. I think they would be a really good fit working with you. Second place, and this is where I usually really recommend a lot of people hire from, especially if you're hiring from the Philippines, is Onlinejobs.ph. It's originally where I got hired a lot as a freelancer when I was still doing that, and it's still a place where even as we are a Philippine corporation for my company, we still hire out of there because a lot of people are going there. It's kind of a usual place for people who are working from home to go into, and it's just one of the ways they can also easily filter other people because you can see their resume, you can see their information. They have to verify to a certain point to be able to be there, and you can see that level of verification. I usually honestly don't recommend Upwork just because it does take a lot of fees for the freelancer or the person that you're hiring. So I'd rather that's kind of a direct hiring through Onlinejobs.ph. And of course, the third way that you can hire a virtual assistant is through virtual assistant agencies like mine. There's a lot of really, really good ones depending on your range of your budget, the kind of scope that you need, if you just really need a marketing assistant or if you need a sales assistant, again, depending on the variety of needs that you might have for a VA. There's a lot of really good agencies out there, and if you want to try to see if 2XU could be a fit for you, you can go ahead and take our scorecard at 2XU.com/scorecard to be able to see and be able to book a call if you're a match at the very end. Once you've settled, or once you've maybe tried all three of ways of where to hire, the next part of this process is going to be the interviews. So as you're receiving all of these resumes, these application letters, you've probably sent out hopefully a few tests, and you found maybe 2 or 3 or 5 candidates who seem to be a really good fit. The next part of that process is just going through interviews. It's just seeing if they could be a match, not just skill-wise, but also back and forth vibe-wise, for lack of a better term. So are they someone who's personable? Are they likable? You see that through the interview. Now you can choose to do a chat interview, which for most shy Filipinos, they probably would prefer, or you can just go ahead and jump on a Zoom call. And usually the top 3 questions that I would ask during a interview. First one is, what is your home situation like? Are you at a home office? Are you able to have quiet time? Are you able to have a place where you can create a routine and actually get work done? Second question is I would usually ask them about their goal. What is the thing that they're working towards? Because for you as their boss, as their manager, you are able to then guide them of like, hey, wasn't your goal to have your own house? Okay, so we'll work on getting you bonuses, getting you a raise through X, Y, and Z process. So then you're able to know how to inspire them and motivate them as you're working with them. And third is try to find out their problem solving skills. This is going to be very essential. So you can walk them through a scenario where like, hey, what would you do if you had to do X, Y, and Z? Or you can ask them questions of, hey, what has been the most difficult thing that you've ever had to come across or ever had to do? And how did you solve it? So you're trying to see, again, if they're the kind of person who can take initiative, who can problem solve, who can give suggestions, who can speak up if there's something that's not doing well. And once you've done that and you have the one person who seems like a perfect fit, if you're hiring direct, you can try to do a trial period. Now, this usually can be just a 30-day trial period. It could be 90, depending on how well they do in 30, 90 days. But I really recommend you just testing out like, hey, I'm going to put you into probationary. These are the processes that we'll go through to see if you're going to be a good fit. Once you've hired someone, again, this is where the real work starts. The first thing you want to do is to make sure that you onboard them for the next 90 days. Now, probably wondering why that long, why 90 days? In 2XU, it's what we found over and over again to be the best time to be able to get someone onboarded, give them context, and see if they'll actually shape up. In those 90 days, you want to focus on the three things that we talked about earlier. First one is making sure that they can catch up on those tasks and actually do the tasks that need to be done. Two is if they can then follow the processes that you've created. So documenting that, make sure that's part of your systems, making sure that they're able to use the tools that you're using. And thirdly is that if they're just a good fit for you and your business and who it is that you need. Sometimes someone could be highly skilled in what it is that they do. They're able to catch things up, but they're just not someone that you can really see working in your business long term. There are times where it is like that, which is why it's really important to have that 90-day onboarding to see, again, is there a fit? Once you have that, is you also want to set up daily syncs. Now, you might already be feeling tired of like the thought of doing daily syncs, but basically you want to make sure that there is a time where you and your assistant can catch up despite the time zones. So it could be that you're in the US, they're in the Philippines, there's a little bit of a, at the end of your day, they start their day. You want to make sure that you align in some way to make sure that you guys are on the same page on what their three main priorities are throughout their day and throughout the week. This is also a good opportunity to be training them, to be giving them context on a lot of different things that's going on in your business. And finally, you want to make sure that you set up ongoing training. What I mean by this is you want to make sure that any time that they have to learn a new skill for your business, that you're able to provide them that training. Because as much as amazing it would be to have just an assistant who just self-studies, there's always going to be things that you prefer for your industry, for your business, that needs to be coming from you. So for example, for me, when it comes to training my assistant, I want to make sure that I'm looking at the things that they're going through, not just the self-study, because there's so much information out there that's easier if you just filter it out and be able to give it to them. So you also know the questions to ask them. You also know if they actually got it or understood the training that they're supposed to be going through. The two main things you have to always keep in mind when it comes to hiring and managing people, and I got this from my friend Dan McPherson, is he talked about the two things that people look for when they're working, they have a career, is movement and growth. So you want to make sure that you're providing both to your assistant moving forward as you hire them. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below. Do you want to try to hire an assistant this 2023? I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. And you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. And I hope you guys have an awesome day, and with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!